Okay, the state of Julian Assange's health has been a growing concern for some time, even when he was still in the Ecuadorian embassy. His representatives were saying that he was getting sick. He needed to see doctors. One reason why he needed to be able to leave the embassy. They're now further confirming WikiLeaks, making another statement saying that Assange is gravely ill. He actually missed a brief court hearing today, is the latest update. Some people had just been talking about some of the most recent updates on Assange's health yesterday, as there was a very concerning statement. Again, WikiLeaks dropped this release just yesterday, but this quote here definitely some possible cause for concern. Article from Caitlin Johnstone saying Assange is reportedly gravely ill and hardly anyone's talking about it. She opens here saying Julian Assange's Swedish lawyer has told the press that it's a pretty worrying quote. Apparently, according to Assange's lawyer, Assange's health situation on Friday, his health situation was such that it was not possible to conduct a normal conversation with him. So Julian Assange, according this coming from his own lawyers, are saying that Assange is too sick to even speak, really, to even have a proper conversation. So I guess he was not able to make this court hearing, and it would make sense that it would be for this reason. This is the most recent announcement today, though, from this morning. He was expected to speak at this hearing. This update just from the last couple of hours saying WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange missed a court session Thursday. Apparently, due to health problems, he had been expected to appear from prison via video link at a brief extradition hearing. They say that one of his lawyers had told the court that Assange was, quote, not very well. Assange, 47 years old, is in Belmarsh prison currently. They point out he's serving a 50-week sentence while fighting extradition to the United States, which accuses him of violating the Espionage Act, publishing these documents. Sweden is also seeking questioning as well. It's not clear, they say, which claim, either the US or Sweden, will take precedence. The decision will likely be made by Britain's Home Secretary. Judge, they're saying, said a more substantive extradition hearing is set. There's another, I guess, follow-up date. So we'll have to see if Assange, what happens in regards to Assange's health leading up to June 12th. That's the next date that he was set to appear in this more substantive extradition hearing. So that actually potentially an even more important date, June 12th. Will Assange appear on that date? May be moved. They're saying that this could be moved to a court next to the Belmarsh prison for convenience. Roughly 24 supporters chanted "Free Assange" outside the courthouse. His case has attracted fresh support from free press advocates in the week since the U.S. filed serious espionage charges against him. Not too much support in the mainstream media, however, but this is one CTV article at least noting that. They're saying he had earlier been held on suspicion of conspiracy, break into these classified computer systems, a less serious charge. WikiLeaks said in a statement, it has grave concerns about Assange's health. We can look at the full statement just from last night. They're saying the anti-secrecy group says he has been moved to the prison health ward. They pull a couple other quotes from that statement that we can look at. This was the article from yesterday, just leading into this. This was before he was set to appear at this brief court hearing today. But again, Caitlin Johnstone just breaking down how his health has been deteriorating, looking at some of the comments from his lawyers. First, this statement. This was the one released last night from WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks saying they have grave concerns about the state of the health of their publisher, Julian Assange. Has been moved to the health ward of Belmarsh prison. This was their full statement. They said WikiLeaks has grave concerns about the health of their publisher. It's been moved to the health ward of Belmarsh prison. Mr. Assange's health had already significantly deteriorated after 7 years inside the Ecuadorian embassy under conditions that were incompatible with basic human rights. There's also another issue, and I really don't know. I mean, given what Julian Assange has been through in those 7 years in the embassy, definitely could result in major health problems like that. But some people have speculated that because these intelligence agencies have been trying to go after Assange, that they may have helped this illness along in some way in his time during the embassy, just beyond being confined there. There were other strange things that have happened over the time that Assange was spending in the Ecuadorian embassy, especially in the last few months that he was there after uh, the new transition in the Ecuadorian government. They were basically signaling for some time that they were no longer going to support Assange. And then some people that were Assange supporters noticed that there were some pretty strange things. There was an attempted break-in at the embassy, and these weird surveillance devices, these unmarked surveillance devices that were actually facing inside the embassy, like looking into the windows towards Assange. So not sure. I mean, these look like some kind of cameras potentially or something, but these were photos that were posted. This is an article written from some Assange supporters who went to the embassy right after this break-in attempt. They also noted these electronic devices and other things, just given the fact that intelligence agencies in the UK were definitely willing to spy on Assange, and they wanted to go after him. Basically, I mean, we know that that was their motive. If they're setting up these sorts of electronic devices, we know that there are other devices that are meant to cause illnesses. We don't know exactly what how Assange is sick, what illness he is facing right now. But there have been mainstream articles even more recently talk. This was possibly the most famous one recently that broke into the mainstream, was a number of people getting sick that were in an embassy in Cuba. A number of people that were working in this embassy in Cuba all suddenly had this illness, and they traced it back later to energy weapons, or that is actually the popular mainstream theory that some mainstream sources are talking about. This was a completely unrelated case at a different embassy, the Canadian embassy in Cuba, saying revealed that a Canadian diplomat had become the 13th person to report unusual health symptoms while stationed in the country. So there have been other diplomats from other countries as well, I believe. But again, we know that these types of it might sound outlandish to some, but with everything that's going on with Julian Assange, even mainstream sources are admitting that these sorts of things do exist and they are used. This is the leading theory in this other case in Cuba at those embassies. The fact that the UK government didn't mind having these unmarked cameras set up that looked like they were trying to spy on Assange, and people breaking into the embassy with all that going on, could they also be using those sorts of tools as well? I mean, it's a possibility. Maybe something to think about. Some people were thinking that they were trying to poison Assange some way, but there are also those sorts of microwave weapons and other types of weapons that they could just set up a device near the embassy, outside the embassy, and cause an illness or make him more ill that way, potentially. They have done that in other cases. They're saying this news has been so under discussed. This is, again, the article from John Stone from yesterday, just saying, as of writing this, I've been able to find very few news outlets reporting on this at all. Most mainstream being one Reuters article with the very tame headline, Swedish court rejects delay of Assange hearing over ill health, according to his lawyer. So his lawyers have been trying to make statements to the mainstream media. They haven't really been reporting on his deteriorating health. I'd seen finally a few articles on this today after he'd missed this hearing that he was set to speak at today. Closing off here, they're saying this news has been so under-discussed and underappreciated as of writing that I didn't find out about it until hours after the story broke. This is from Caitlin Johnstone, who's been covering WikiLeaks regularly. She says, I'm very plugged into both alternative media commentary and WikiLeaks-related news, so if anybody should know about this pretty important update, she should have been aware. She's saying it's so underreported. Even she didn't know for several hours. Report that Julian Assange was so sick he could barely speak all the way back on Friday, and we still have no news about how he's doing now. This should be hugely significant for anyone who cares about Assange, press freedom, government transparency, or peace activism. So we actually do have, I guess, a bit of an update that was written yesterday We have kind of a not so great update on that today, but at least there's some kind of news. The last major update before that was just the statement coming directly from WikiLeaks and those comments made Friday, up until what happened today with this hearing, him missing that. Another part of this story they're saying, which has gone completely uncovered in all English language media, so as of writing this news, is that Assange has actually been transferred to the hospital wing of Belmarsh prison. This was reported by the Swedish outlet, by one Swedish news outlet. A newspaper published in the same district court Assange is scheduled to call into for his hearing. The report is also based on a statement to the press from one of the spokespeople. Your article reports the following. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange's Swedish lawyer wants the arrest hearing on Monday to be postponed, according to the lawyer who has now visited his client in British prison. Assange is admitted to the medical department and was unable to make a call. So let me know what you think. I'm going to continue to follow this, obviously. I know there's all sorts of different theories as to what's going on. There might be more going on behind the scenes that's not being reported. But I mean, let me know. Just let me know what you think about this info. I do have a link in the video description to my Patreon account, patreon.com/realityreader. You can support the channel. A couple dollars makes a huge difference, helps me keep talking about these issues. There's also a PayPal link, both links in the video description, and the full source article on the most recent update about this court hearing today, him missing that court hearing. Few mainstream outlets actually finally reporting on this today. Just again, I think specifically because of this court hearing taking place. Let me know what you think. I'll follow up soon. Thank you.